My God. These 3 videos, released by the Department of Defense, have changed the way many people see what we can't explain.
The moment you mention UFO, immediately what comes to mind are little green men, tinfoil hats. That's not at all what we're dealing with.
In 2004, off the coast of California, an F-18 Super Hornet training exercise was suddenly interrupted by a call over the radio that would come to define Commander David Fravor's career.
You know, there's certain things in your life where you just remember in vivid detail what happened. And that's one of them, because it's honestly the strangest, most obscure thing I've ever seen flying.
Fravor, the commanding officer of the Navy's Strike Fighter Squadron 41, and another F-18 scrambled to check out an unusual radar blip 80 miles off the coast.
So as we're looking around, the backseater in the other airplane comes up and says, "Hey, Skipper, do you see?" And before he says it, I'm like, "Dude, do you see that?" As soon as we look down, we see the whitewater, and then we see this little white tic-tac. It's pointing north-south, and it's just going forward, back, left, right.
It's just bouncing around?
Yeah, like a ping pong ball.
What was its shape? What was its... what did it look like it was made out of?
Like a perfectly smooth white tic-tac. Or for people that need a bigger visualization, a giant propane tank.
Fravor says the F-18s began circling, Fravor at 20,000 feet, and the so-called tic-tac only about 50 feet above the surface of the water.
And I say, "Hey, I'm going to go check this thing out." And the other pilot stays and says, "Hey, I'm going to stay up high." And then it starts coming up at us. We call it two-circle fight, but it's coming up, I'm coming down. So it literally is aware we're there. There's no doubt, because it mirrored me. So here it is. I cut across, and I get to about half a mile of it, so I'm about halfway across the circle. As it gets in front of me, it just goes poof, and it's gone. And it's gone like that fast.
What do you mean, poof, it's gone?
I mean exactly that. Like, it's 1 minute it's there, and the next second, it's like magic trick. So I asked the other airplane, I said, "Hey, do you guys see that?" And they're like, "It's gone. It just disappeared."
When you saw this kind of performance, what was the first thing that went through your mind?
What the hell was that?
Once back on the carrier, Fravor's team told the next crew what had happened, and that crew took off ready to capture something on camera. And this is what they saw. I guess the biggest question is, what do you think it is?
I honestly don't know. I don't think that we have developed that technology. I don't think we developed it on this planet. We still, to this day, have no idea what it was, what we saw, what we chased, what we engaged. It was pretty spectacular.
A report from that incident eventually made its way to the Pentagon, across the desk of Luis Elizondo, the former director of the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program.
In essence, what that program was an investigatory body looking at what we call the UAP, probably in the vernacular, it's better known as the UFO phenomenon. The bottom line here is that over the past several decades, we in the Department of Defense and the intelligence community have been noticing things in our airspace that don't have wings, they don't have cockpits, they don't have even an obvious sign of propulsion like an engine, and yet still they're able to defy the natural effects of Earth's gravity.
In 2020, the Pentagon declassified 3 videos, the Tic Tac video and 2 others filmed on the East Coast in January of 2015. Other countries have made similar public disclosures. Also in 2004, the Mexican Air Force confirmed this video was shot by one of their pilots near the coast of Baja California. In 2014, the helicopter from the Chilean Navy locked onto an unidentified object emitting what appeared to be some sort of gas or vapor. Both governments have said they investigated but couldn't determine what the objects were. To those like science writer Sarah Scholes, clipped black and white videos always leave a lot to the imagination.
To me, the most interesting thing about the videos is how little information is in them. All we have are these, 30 seconds or a minute of something totally decontextualized. And so everybody kind of gets to think whatever they want to think about them, because we don't actually have enough information to form any kind of conclusion, which is UFO's favorite space to live in, the muddy, fuzzy space.
But will 2021 be the year all of that changes because of COVID-19?
Hidden among the many pages of the COVID-19 bill is this mandate to produce a report on unidentified aerial phenomena. What's different this time is that the military is kind of talking about them very explicitly in terms of threats. It's not like the Pentagon's deal to call things aliens, but that's kind of the angle they're coming from.
If there is a foreign adversary, let's say Russia or China or anybody else, who happens to have this technology and they've had it for decades, and we in the United States have somehow been strategically leapfrogging our technology, we've got a big problem on our hands.
Officially, the clause attached to December's COVID-19 relief bill, added by the Senate Intelligence Committee, calls for the military and FBI to brief committee members on what they know about UAPs within 180 days of the bill's passing. The kind of top-level briefings Elizondo says he's given before.
The three options are, is it our technology? Is it foreign adversarial technology or someone else's technology? Or is it something completely different? We're 99% sure it's not foreign adversarial technology. So that only leaves really one other option. It's someone or something else.
Are these three videos the only videos that you know of that the United States government has that shows unidentified aerial phenomenon?
No, absolutely not. These are probably some of the least compelling videos. Some cases, we've seen these things 50 feet away from the cockpit.
And when you're talking about something that is 50 feet away, I mean, what could they tell from being 50 feet away?
With all due respect, Gotti, I no longer work for the United States government in that capacity. So I want to be clear that I don't want to speak on behalf of the U.S. government, and I also want to give the government time to do what it needs to do regarding this data.
But in science, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence.
If the UFO field wants to be taken more seriously by scientists, I think they will kind of have to move away from the types of evidence that have historically been held up as adequate, like individual sightings, because the scientists can't really do anything with the story. They need data.
Look, I'm not a UFO guy. My background, I'm a former counterintelligence special agent. I was asked to do a job, which I did. However, it was my understanding, the conclusions that I came to, and by the way, every other person in the program unanimously came to the realization that these things are indeed real. And it's getting increasingly harder to keep the cat in the bag.
Do you ever think that you're going to see something like that again in your lifetime?
I don't know. I look up a lot. I mean, I'm not lying. On a clear night, you just look up and wonder, and I'll wander for the rest of my life. I think everyone does.